All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA offseason video. In this video, we are going to talk about LeBron James to the Philadelphia 76ers, some things that have come out a couple days after he signed, some things I want to talk about, his fit with the team. Just dive into it a little bit. Obviously, we're going to talk about this team and many other teams in depth when it comes to my preseason predictions and my rankings for all the teams coming up here in, I guess, a month. Yeah, a month or so before the season starts. We'll get to that when we get to that. But I do just want to talk about some stuff that came out after LeBron James signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, talk about his fit with the team, talk about some other stuff that's floating around, some funny stuff, some other things, teams that missed out on LeBron. So if you like what I say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment it down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. There was a storm brewing outside, so I apologize if you can hear that in the background. This is my only time to record today, so I'm going to have to deal with it, and you're going to have to deal with it. And if you hear thunder or lightning and you hear me screech or something, then it is what it is. The first thing I want to talk about here, there goes the thunder. Um, First thing I want to talk about here is the reports that LeBron is going to play a lot of point guard. Now, point guard being, he's going to be the main facilitator on this team. And he's been the main facilitator on almost every team he's been on. But this is an interesting thing to me because LeBron's at the point in his career where I think his greatest asset is his mind. Obviously, the other greatest asset is him taking care of himself. But on the court, it's his mind. And being surrounded by guys like Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, whether LeBron is the official point guard or he's listed as forward, but he plays like point forward or something, being surrounded by guys like Tyrese, who at times I think is better off being just a rogue shooter, just a guy who can get you buckets. I think when you ask Tyrese Maxey to think too much and handle too much responsibility, we've seen it over the course of the last couple of years. Even though he's a phenomenal player, he gets into his own head. He's like, oh, I got to make this shot. I got to do it now. I'm the guy. I got to do this. It takes a lot of weight off his shoulders. I think him playing more into that Kyrie Irving role where I'm just out here to ball. I'm just out here to put the ball in the basket. That's all I got to do. Maybe make the occasional extra pass, get an occasional rebound, but I just got to go out here and play and make sure every shot counts and make sure I'm in the right spot at the right time. And the same goes for VJ Edgecombe, where VJ's going into his second year. VJ going into this summer might have thought, oh, I'm going to get more responsibility. I'm going to get more time with the ball going into my second year. Now you add Jaylen Brown. Now you add LeBron James. That is probably taking a back seat for a little while. But VJ is going to get some of the easiest shots he's ever seen in his career, whether it was just his 1 year this past year in the NBA, his time at, I believe, went to Baylor, his time at Baylor. He's going to get some really open looks, and he's going to get some really fantastic passes from LeBron. And it's just going to feel so much easier for him. Not that it was hard last year because teams didn't really know what to scout for, but now they really don't know what to scout for because you got three guys who can handle the ball, playing more of the guard spots, and then you got Jaylen Brown, who I think we all can agree with this. Jaylen Brown gets tunnel vision sometimes, even though he's a great scorer. He's great at a bunch of things. Being one of the guys to make the decisions isn't great. He's not. That's one of his weaknesses. I think the most positive thing to go hand in hand with LeBron and Tyrese Maxey is Jaylen Brown isn't going to have to worry about a lot. He's going to have to be a 3-and-D wing and a slasher to the basket, and that's it. At times, is he going to wave off LeBron? Probably. At times, is he going to drive to the basket when LeBron or Joel Embiid or somebody else is wide open? Probably. But that's just the Jaylen Brown experience, and I feel like Jaylen Brown is a smart enough guy to understand that um, LeBron has to be the main decision maker. He's been doing this for so long. Jaylen Brown has played against him in playoff series. He knows how smart he is. I think it's just, quite frankly, a match made in heaven that you have two guys who questionably have questionable shots, questionable passes, make dumb decisions at times, and you bring in one of the guys who mitigates a lot of those mistakes. And not to say LeBron doesn't make his own mistakes or that he's the perfect player, but in a world where you have a Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown on the same team, before this LeBron James acquisition, you were kind of worried about, oh, we got two guys who get little tunnel vision, get a lot of tunnel vision. Are they going to ice Joel out? Are they going to ice VJ out sometimes? You don't really have to worry about that with LeBron because LeBron's going to get in that huddle and be like, "You're going to give me the ball, and I'm going to find one of you guys." And it's going to lead to a lot of open shots for these guards slash wings. And speaking of easy shots, it's going to lead to a lot of easy post ups. It's going to lead to a lot of easy half court offense with LeBron and Joel Embiid. We're at this point in Joel Embiid's career where he doesn't really play in the open court like he used to. He doesn't run like he used to. He's got a bad knee, he's got a bad back or whatever. Joel has dealt with a lot of injuries. I think specifically in the half court sense, Joel and LeBron doing a pick and roll, doing a pick and pop, either reversing the pick and roll where it's Joel handling the ball and LeBron screening. It's going to provide a great dynamic for this team of a bunch of young guys and a bunch of athletic guys who are at their athletic peak in Tyrese, Jalen, and VJ. And then when the game has to slow down a little bit, it's like, okay, LeBron's just going to pass this into Joel. It's going to be the easy. Joel's going to have to take one dribble or just fake one way and put it up. It's going to be some of the easiest post ups for Joel. Joel's going to get a lot of fadeaways in. Joel's going to get, I don't know if LeBron's going to throw Joel a lob, but maybe Joel can throw LeBron a lob instead. It's so fascinating at this point in his career that LeBron has been the facilitator at every stop he's been at, essentially. But now, at his advanced age, you're looking at him to be more reserved, and I think he did a great job. He's been doing a great job of that. You saw it. He was reserved a lot of the regular season last season, and then come playoff time, he was ready, and they took down the Suns pretty handily. And if it wasn't for the overpowered nature of the Oklahoma City Thunder, I feel like the Lakers could have gone a lot further with just a 41-year-old LeBron. LeBron's going to be 42 at the very beginning of next season, so 1 year older. You want to continue to take a weight off his shoulders, and whether this is the last year or this is the first of his last contract, who knows? But I think breaking it down like this, for me at least, provides some clarity where the two best fit teams were Philly and the Timberwolves. For LeBron to just slide in at that 4 spot, get some easy looks, just be a facilitator, not have to carry the offensive load necessarily getting shots up, even though he can get his shot up still. It provides some easy looks for him. Now, speaking of other teams that could have gotten LeBron, there's been some stuff coming out, obviously, after the whole show and everything of him not signing with certain teams. And one I found particularly interesting, where I'm going to hold a little bit of caution. This is hearsay. This is through the grapevine that I'm reading this. This is from Full Court Pass on Twitter, on X, via Scoop B, who's a reporter, I guess. And I'm going to read this word for word, and I'm going to break this down because I actually bursted out laughing when I read this the other day. There was widespread surprise among LeBron James' inner circle that Donovan Mitchell was still on the Cavaliers. Quote, if the Cavs had Garland in Cleveland and moved Donovan in a trade to for Jaylen Brown, there's a good chance that LeBron James would be in Cleveland next to Garland, Jaylen Brown, and Evan Mobley. So this is such a long game, like crazy quote to me, because we'll work our way backwards from this, where Jaylen Brown wasn't thought to be a feasible, attainable asset till like the past couple months, in the past couple weeks. So there's one part to that where you're like, okay, so we're going to trade Donovan Mitchell for Jaylen Brown. That just came on the market. You don't have time to assess that. Would I rather Jaylen Brown over Donovan Mitchell? In a vacuum, I would rather have Donovan Mitchell because I feel like he's more of a big-time player. But Jaylen Brown is a Finals MVP. He's an Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He provides a lot of things that Donovan Mitchell doesn't. Even though the scoring outbursts that Donovan Mitchell can have, Jaylen Brown, for what he lacks in scoring, he makes up for in defense, and he's a two-way player. And not to say Donovan Mitchell's a terrible defensive player, but he's no Jaylen Brown, let's be honest, right? So operating under that assumption that LeBron wanted the Cavaliers to trade for Jaylen Brown and get rid of Donovan Mitchell. Okay, sure, right? But then we're working our way backwards to the point where LeBron wanted to play with Darius Garland. and Evan Mobley without Donovan Mitchell. So we're working our way back to the beginning of this season where LeBron could have operated under the assumption that I want to play with Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. And then once the Cavaliers traded Darius Garland midseason to the Clippers, they were just sort of out of it at that point. Like, or was LeBron okay playing with a combination of like James Harden, Jalen Brown, Evan Mobley, and himself? Was that the other thing that he maybe was thinking about? This is so many hoops to jump through for the Cavaliers, and if this is true, it's so many hoops for the Cavaliers to jump through, not knowing if they would even get LeBron, you know? And I kind of feel bad for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the sense of like, you did what was right in the moment. You did the Darius Garland trade. You didn't do the Donovan Mitchell trade. You actually extended his contract, and you're running it back, and you got James Harden back in that Darius Garland trade where I have my own thoughts. We all have our own thoughts about James Harden, but you're operating without, okay, our saving grace is coming in LeBron. Let's make every move possible. You're just operating by yourself, and you're operating like a real NBA franchise, which I respect. Again, if this is true, this is so many hoops to jump through for just maybe the possibility that LeBron could come. So if LeBron didn't come, which he didn't, but let's say the Cleveland Cavaliers did all these things, you will be having a team of Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and Jalen Brown. I don't love that team. LeBron does make it better, but that's a fantasy land. And I feel like the Cavaliers were never really in this, if this story is true. It was sort of like an outside ballpark chance that maybe it could happen, but I don't really love that. I love that they just stuck to their guns and they didn't. If they even if they were told this throughout the season, I'm glad that they just stuck to their guns. Now, the other team that was in play apparently was the Golden State Warriors, who I was 90% sure LeBron was going to go to the Sixers, or go to the Warriors, pardon me, and not end up with the Sixers. Um, I thought the Warriors had the best chance because one, it's in the California area. LeBron's youngest daughter is still in school, so I suspected that maybe he would want to stay around the family, be able to go from L.A. to the Bay back and forth. Hopefully not in a helicopter. We'll get to that in a minute. I thought that played a part in it. I thought playing with Steph Curry after experiencing Steph Curry in the Olympics when they played this past, not this summer, but this past summer. Draymond Green, who's very familiar with LeBron, both on the court and off the court. Getting to play under Steve Kerr, who is Steve Kerr. He doesn't really make older players do a lot of things. He's just happy-go-lucky sort of coach. Um, I thought LeBron was about 90% going to go to the Warriors. And then as this offseason went through the offseason, we got to the point where there was some really real reports that LeBron would only go to the Warriors if they traded for Anthony Davis. And the Anthony Davis stuff is weird because Anthony Davis just got to Washington. And then months before, even I think before the end of this, or even before the draft, it was like, are they going to give Anthony Davis a contract extension? I don't think that's materialized quite yet because Anthony Davis wants a long-term deal. The Wizards smartly want him on a short-term deal. And then the Golden State Warriors probably came to them and they were like, hey, what will it take to get Anthony Davis? And they had talks and the Wizards shut them down. That was a month ago probably at this point, right? And that all felt very real. That felt like if the Warriors wanted to get LeBron, they had to get Anthony Davis. And then once that avenue got shut down for the Warriors, it didn't feel like they were getting LeBron. And there were reports that came out a couple days ago that the Warriors were unwilling to give up Jimmy Butler in any sort of Anthony Davis trade. And again, I'm going to operate with the same thought of the Cavs, where it's like, if I trade Jimmy Butler for Anthony Davis, am I am is it, let's picture a team without LeBron. We put it all on the table for LeBron, and we're like, we got Steph, we got Draymond, we got Anthony Davis. Come to the Bay, let's all play together, right? And he still says no. Now I'm just stuck with Anthony Davis, who's injury prone, and I gave up Jimmy Butler, who is coming off an ACL or an MCL injury, who probably isn't going to be the same version of himself, but at least he's in the system. He likes the Warriors. He wants to play with the Warriors. And if I'm the Warriors, I have to lock up Anthony Davis in this hypothetical universe. I have to lock up Anthony Davis for 4 years when this whole thing's gonna be over in 2 years. You know, uh, I don't love that. But thinking about all that and thinking about how LeBron reportedly was torn between um, the Warriors and the 76ers per his agent, Rich Paul, um, isn't shocking. I requires a whole nother video, which we will do at some point. But the Warriors just tripping over themselves at every juncture they can over the past since they won the championship 2022 is just shocking. It really is. And this was, not to get too far away from the topic of this video, but this was the last big play for the Warriors. This was it. Getting LeBron was it. That's it. That was it. Nothing else is going to happen. And it's kind of upsetting a little bit that the Warriors didn't try harder, knowing this was the last chance, and reports coming out afterwards that they're prioritizing the future and not the Steph Curry era anymore. Um, I can, with all that information that we have now after this whole thing went down, it makes perfect sense why they didn't trade for LeBron. Um, I always think when you have a generational talent like Steph Curry, even at the end of his prime, you have to consider to keep going for it, to keep trying to win. LeBron was the win move. There's no win move for the Warriors now. Was LeBron going to fix all the problems and fix everything with the Warriors? No. Would it have been must see TV? Yes. um, but yeah, yeah, I have other stuff here that I want to read. Yeah, this is per Sham Sharania. Had the Warriors traded for Anthony Davis, they would have had a higher chance than anyone of landing LeBron. Golden State refused to add Jimmy Butler to an Anthony Davis deal. So yeah, that's pretty much it. When those talks fell apart for the Warriors not trading for Davis, LeBron decided on Philadelphia, and it made sense. It makes sense. Again, my heart of hearts was telling me in the moment because everything I was hearing was LeBron to Golden State. It made sense. It made sense for his personal life. It made sense for his future. It made sense for his now in the sense of getting to play with a bunch of people he's familiar with. And I give him credit now for going to Philly, playing with people he really hasn't played with. He played with Joel Embiid a little bit in the Olympics, but not a lot. Um, I give LeBron credit for challenging himself once again to go somewhere different, and people are going to criticize him. How many jerseys are you going to put on? How many cities are you going to stop at? I think at some point I will criticize him for that because that's just the nature of sports if this doesn't go well. But at the same time, I respect it because the interesting thing for me is him wanting. And he said in his posts, he said he wants to keep working, he wants to keep competing for a championship. And at the end of the day, when you lay it all out like that, when you lay out the teams, it was Philly that was going to probably end up with the best chance after they traded for Jaylen Brown to win a championship. And that's what it came down to. But yeah, let's get out of here. I do want to talk about a few other things. There was a report that LeBron James was going to, yeah, here it is from the Boyard Company. LeBron James' first year with the Philadelphia 76ers is projected to generate anywhere from $250 million to 430 million in regional economic activity for Philly. That's some crazy numbers. I don't know what regional economic activity is, but it's a big word and it sounds good. So LeBron's gonna make the economy better in Philly. I think Philly needs something to bring them together because Philly's in a rough spot right now. They're not doing too well, but hopefully the people of Philly can rally around a sports team like the Sixers, and they deeply care about the Sixers even when they're bad. They still care about them. Um, the last thing here is LeBron supposedly is not going to have an introductory press conference. They're not doing a press conference. He's not coming down from wherever he is to Philly to do a press conference. His first official day with the team is going to be on media day in a few weeks from now, and he's going to answer all the questions. There's going to be a bunch of people there. ESPN's going to show it, and we'll probably talk about it. We'll probably talk about all the media days or some of the media days that are important, especially people with new teams. But I do find that interesting as well that LeBron's not going to make it about himself for once. Interesting. But now media day is gonna be fun. The picture of all these guys together is gonna be is gonna be funny because either it's gonna go down as a really great picture of all these guys together, or it's gonna go down as a picture that we talk about in 5, 6 years, where it's like, what could have been? This team should have won a championship. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for this because as a Warriors fan, my my team's gonna suck. My team's gonna be so bad next year. Um, so anything else going around the league is gonna pique my interest specifically, and what could be one of the final years of LeBron's career. I think everybody's gonna be watching, and I was already hooked when you told me Jaylen Brown and everybody else was gonna play. And Philly's gonna go from like 14 nationally televised games to 34. Also, that's a crazy amount of games. You're gonna see a lot of this team. I hope they play together. I really hope. That's the one thing. I really hope all these guys play together and they're all healthy. Because Tyrese has had some injury issues. Joel Embiid is the king of injury issues. Jaylen Brown plays through his injuries, but you'd like him to be a tad bit healthier. And VJ Edgecombe, thank God, has been healthy a majority of his career, which is 1 year. So hopefully he can go 2 for 2 in being healthy. But yeah, that's it. That's the video. I just wanted to hop on here, talk about this team a little bit more, talk about some things. And of course, talking about LeBron is always means more people clicking on the video. So yeah, that's it. The end screen should be playing right now. Check out the video on the left. Check out the playlist on the right. If you click my little icon in the bottom middle of the screen, a little subscribe button will pop up, and you can subscribe with ease, like and comment as well. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers.